Hello friends, surprise, critical choice, climax, matrix. Let us discuss now the element of surprise, critical choice, climax, matrix, and how these aspects get an intrinsic element in the body of the story. Each story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. As in real life, also, we go through the stages from infancy to youth to adult life to middle age to old age and consequently death. So, the element of truth in a story becomes realistic if it adheres to life-like situations. Whether the author is dealing with a fictionalized character or characters or real ones, one a fantasy, a mystery, or a suspense. In all these aspects, the narrative will become reality only and only if the situations that are being dealt with by the writer in the novel with a life-like environment. That is, even if the characters are humans or non-humans, aliens or computers, or even animals portrayed in human-like voices, all these aspects look real in a realistically defined plot. Hence, critical choice, which I discussed earlier, is imperative in understanding the way forward. Surprise solidifies the conflict, meaning obstacles in the plot, and can be caused by human characters, for example, death of a person amidst people on the streets, or by environmental dictates like floodings in my novel, or a meteor falling down from the sky as if in a sci-fi novel. It can also help suddenly or by a past progression of happenings. Can happen suddenly or by past progression of happenings. For example, climate crisis, an earthquake, a volcanic eruption, or a tsunami in the sea. All these events take place suddenly, can take the readers in a completely new world or away momentarily from current reality. Birds suddenly migrating from southeast to northeast. Animals leaving their zoos and moving in the city or town or a village that's preoccupied by humans. All these events bring a sense of the unknown quite without a warning. This will entertain the readers and will keep them glued to the novel. This would create more questions in the reader's mind to seek answers to. Critical choice or an important yet difficult decision is the next paradigm that is attacked by the author. And he or she would keep on changing this decision based on the current reality of the novel. After the imagination of the reader is garnered, by the author, he or she needs to instantly change course before the readers begin predicting the future events in the story. Obstacles are created through the critical choice questions which the author asks itself. For example, what is the current reality? Where do I have to lead it? To forge the story ahead, these are difficult questions for the writer itself. What can be called as an important choice? Consequently, the author, while penning down his or her novel, will have to seek, answers beforehand. Only then he or she will be able to carry the readers with them through the future pages of the novel. He or she answers loosely or are not supported by an appropriate course correction, the fun in reading the novel would soon be lost and the entire plot will appear predictable in hindsight for the readers. Have dealt with the writer's choice or choices in earlier episodes in order to emphasize this very aspect and the dilemma that the author faces while seeking answers to difficult questions. The reader's imagination is being tested, including red herrings, information which misleads the readers, making them group into a dimension other than that of the author's imagination. This is summarily used in psychological thrillers, both in mysteries and suspenses, backward oriented or forward looking. These red herrings must be naturally planted in the story with subtlety and resourcefulness. In my novel, I made a critical choice in page 83, chapter 12, the psychic layer and the decision of their marriage. The narrative reads as below, and I read, in the midst of the hustle and bustle of office life, Robin had reviewed his illness several times. The phone calls never bothered him now, neither did the internet intrigue him. All he saw was despondency and a feeling of disgust and frustration. The medicines had begun their journey in his blood vessels, moving upwards into his brain. Robin grew pale and exhausted. The above paragraphs shows contradiction from the title. It suggests that the hero or the heroine has made a critical decision about their marriage. Eventually, there may or may not be a chaos or confusion over the critical decision, but the fictional characters seem to own their decisions, come what may, situation like. This is important and shows the freedom to choose as in a real life situation. Climax, or I'd call it flourishing. I now come to the major aspect of the trio: surprise, critical choice, and now the climax. One who's learned the statistics will understand that climax is a mole, a peak of the mountain. In other words, one can see the tip of the Mount Everest in the Himalayas in India. But to reach there, one has to go through lots of obstacles, hard decisions, difficult and critical choices. What should be the planning to execution to reach the top of Mount Everest or Jungfrau in Switzerland? The critical choices that the author imposes on the characters perforce will definitely be the climax in the plot. It should be the reality of the choice decisions and how it comes to life eventually. In my novel, Together with You Forever, I brought the novel to its zenith when I decided to make the defunct hero Robin free from his home. No one knew where he had been for several weeks, and that created a tense movement in the lives of all the other characters, and more so the heroine Pooja Malhotra, now D'Souza. A scooter skidding on the road with several cars behind the man and his fiancée, pillion rider, skidding and bleeding. Other climaxes could be a toddler falling from a French window but getting saved, a fire erupting at a factory building, burning several workmen, a burglar breaking into a neighbor's house. Each of the credible climaxes would be answered differently by the author. The readers would decide the further readings into the novel and would be compelled to emotionally understand the human problem and the look from the situational perspective. In the case of a child falling from the top floor, it should be that there was external plastering work going on in the building and the child was saved because of a net hanging below the French window on the lower floors. The factory workmen were saved by safety alarms and the sharp and quick actions by the factory hospital van, who reached all those who were burnt with minimum injuries, were sent home after treatment. The homeowner's important option would be a self-defense in case of burglary. All the answers would depend on the exact situation of the climax. Maybe, perhaps, the thief being hit on the head. Sometimes important choices and climaxes follow one another seemingly in the same act climax. In my novel, Together with You Forever, the protagonist who vanished from the home be found immediately. He may be found after 5 months at a police station. The answers to all these climax or wonder situations can be provided by the end of the chapter itself. At other times, these answers can be provided in the future chapters. All narrative surprises supports the forward momentum of the plot. How humans face their individual condition makes the novel interesting. You are pertaining to human protagonist or protagonists or other characters. Intrigue and mystery like conflicts and how they are eventually removed. The protagonist or protagonists have made critical choices in a crisis and refers to crisis management to resolve their individual problems. This way, the quest will perpetuate further, adding a spice to the character's aptitude and ability in the forefront. Here, I would have loved to give a bonus to my listeners or viewers, but I leave that for the next video. So a bonus in the next video. So here I end my video. You can put your comments and subscribe. Thank you very much.